Good morning, students. In our last video, I had in very brief introduced our new chapter that we would be doing, that is the singing lesson by Catherine Mansfield. I had given a brief summary of the lesson. I give the summary so that when you all need it, you all could just see the videos of those summaries and get that brief gist of the entire chapter. After the summary wise, I'll give you the chapter page by page, and today we will start from page number 91. Page 91, you all have your books, you all can open your books, and we will start with our 8th lesson, that is the singing lesson. With despair, cold, sharp despair. Now the author, that is Catherine, in the onset only of the story, introduce us to a bleak and a very, very dull atmosphere. With despair, sadness, sorrow, cold, sharp, and she's even going to the extent of categorizing despair as cold and sharp, buried deep in her heart like a wicked knife. So who was this? Despair was in the heart of this particular singing teacher, Miss Meadows. So on the onset only, we are shown that this particular teacher was facing difficulties, in deep trouble, in deep sorrow. So Miss Meadows in cap and gown, this was their school. We all know that this entire sequence of events is happening in a school. Miss Meadow in cap and gown and carrying a little, she had a cap on, that is the style there, and they have their gowns, and she had a small baton. Baton is a cane, we call it sulti. So she would roam around the school. It's a purely girls' school, but very, very a strict disciplinarian she was, and she was feared by the girls. So whenever she went down the corridors, she would have this baton in her hand. Today also we are shown her to be carrying her famous baton. Carrying a little baton, trod is walked down the cold corridors that led to the music hall. Very, very sad and disheartenedly, she was walking down to her main class, where she would give her singing lesson to her class. Girls of all ages, rosy from the air and bubbling over with that gleeful excitement that comes from running to school on a fine autumn morning. Now, it was a fine autumn morning. These girls were belonging to standard 5, 6 and 7, young girls, very cheerful, very happy-go-lucky. So when these students were being led to the singing room, their singing class is a period of relaxation, no fear, no studies. So naturally, obviously, the girls were happy to be taken to the singing class. So they were very, very joyfully hopping and skipping in an not an order, like in an order, but just freely they were. And because classes are not very big also, they are just few children in classes there also. On a fine autumn morning, hurried skip fluttered by. From the hollow classroom came a quick drumming of voices. A bell rang, a voice like a bird cry, mural. And then there came from the staircase tremendous knocking. Someone had dropped her thumb bells. Okay, so all the children were running out, and suddenly in this confusion there was a clash, a sound of something falling, and some child, some girl, some student had knocked her thumb bells down. The science mistress stopped Miss Meadows, and while they were walking down the corridor, Miss Meadows was in this sad, melancholic mood, and she came face to face with the science teacher of that school. Now, being teachers, being friends, they exchanged greetings with each other. Miss Meadows was in no mood to talk, to converse. She was in this sad, depressed state of mind. Good morning, she cried. She out here is the science teacher and she is wishing Miss Meadows a good morning in her sweet, affected drawl. Isn't it cold? It might be winter. And she is asking her friend Miss Meadows that whether it is turning cold now. Miss Meadows, hugging the knife, stared in hatred at the science mistress. So Miss Meadows was in no mood of talking. She just looked at this teacher with piercing eyes and she did not respond much. Everything about her was sweet and she in fact did not like the science teacher. She had in her heart of heart, she had a hatred for the science teacher. And today when the science teacher has encountered her, talking to her, it made bad matters worse. Worse feelings came into the heart of Miss Meadows. Everything about her was sweet, pale like honey. You could not have been surprised to see a bee caught in the tangles of that yellow hair. Now she was so sweet at this particular moment that Miss Meadows thinking that bees are attracted to beautiful flowers. And says Miss Meadows looked so beautiful in whatever clothes she was wearing that day, that she is saying that if a bee happened to be near about, it would be attracted to this particular teacher. Anyway, it is rather sharp, said Miss Meadows grimly. The other smiled, her surgery smile. Surgery smile is a smile that cuts people to pieces. And Miss Meadows says that yes, the weather is sharp, that it is getting chilly, getting a bit cold. You look frozen, she said. Now there was something abnormal about the behavior of Miss Meadows. The science teacher had noticed it also. And she tells Miss Meadows that you are looking frozen. Obviously she was frozen at this point of time. And she's saying something's wrong with you. She did not take exactly what's wrong or even if something wrong, but she just commented that you look frozen. She said, her blue eyes opened wide. There came a mocking light in them. Had she noticed it? And when the science teacher told Miss Meadows that she looked frozen, Miss Meadows tried to come out of those gloomy situation and tried to pass off the situation so that no one else but her knew her feelings or what she was going through. She didn't want to share her feelings with this particular teacher. Oh, not quite so bad as that. So she compliments, she said, no, I'm not frozen, I'm not feeling that cold at least, said Miss Meadows. And she gave the science mistress in exchange for her smile a quick grimace and pass off. And she did not even smile properly. She just looked angrily at the science teacher and continued to her singing room, where she was going to conduct her singing class, the first period of the day. Form 4, that is classes 4, 5 and 6. So these were the classes. As I said, the classes were not big, so a lot of children can be accumulated or gathered in this particular music hall that they had. And classes 4, 5 and 6, those who had opted for music, only those students were taken to this particular hall, were assembled in the music hall. The noise was definitely, naturally 3 classes have got together, girls have got together. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of noise going on in that hall. Absolute disorder was there, no discipline whatsoever. On the platform by the piano stood Mary Breezley. Now Miss Meadows had a favorite, a pet student who played the piano. Now this particular student, Mary, she was already at her place, sitting on the stool beside the piano, waiting for the arrival of Miss Meadows. And the singing lesson would be, instruction would be given by the teacher, but Mary would be playing the piano here. So Miss Meadows, favorite, who played accomplishment, and there were a lot of, being a singing class, a singing room, there were a lot of instruments, a lot of pianos. So Mary would play one piano. Miss Meadows, whenever required, would be seated at the next piano. She was turning the music stool when she saw Miss Meadows, and she was getting ready to sit down, adjusting herself to the piano, when she saw this teacher coming in. Mary was not afraid of Miss Meadows because Mary was her pet. Okay, so she looked at her, and even Mary, the student, could guess that things were not normal with Miss Meadows. She gave a loud one. As she entered, she gave a huge scream to quieten the students down. Shh, girls. And Miss Meadows, her hand thrust in her sleeves, the baton underarm, strode down the center aisle, mounted the steps, turned sharply, seized the brass music stand, planted it in front of her, and gave her sharp tap with her baton for silence. She climbed they had like a stage there, a small stage. She climbed up there very seriously, did what she had to do, got herself adjusted, and gave a tap with the baton for the students to keep quiet. Silence, please, immediately. Now she was controlling the class and she told them to keep quiet, and looking at nobody, her glance swept over that sea of colored flannel blouses, and she was just lost in thought. And she kept looking at her class. Her imagination was somewhere, her mind was somewhere, her heart was somewhere. And she looked at the girl been absolutely blank. Which girl was doing what was not registering in her mind. With bobbing pink faces and hands, quivering butterfly hairs and bows, and music books outspread, and the girls were wearing their flannel uniforms, round rosy faces they had all their books. Now singing class is a class where the teacher teaches the students with music. You have music chords, music lessons are there, music, every song is given there. So everyone is told which song to take out, what notes to take, what notes to not take. Okay. Quivering butterfly hair, bows, and music books outspread. She knew perfectly well that what they were thinking, and Miss Meadows knew what the girls were thinking. Maddie, is it a wax? Well, let them think it. Her eyelids quivered. Now she's thinking like, what could these small children be thinking of her? And then her mind, her imagination tells her, let them think what they think. I know what I am going through. Let them think what they think. She tossed her head, defying them. What could the thoughts of those creatures matter to someone who stood there bleeding to death? Then she was consoling herself. She says, let these children think what they are thinking about me. Because what do they know about me? At this very moment, I am bleeding to death with the tragedy that has taken place in her life. She is finding it difficult to cope with life. So what those girls are thinking of the teacher is irrelevant to her. She just doesn't care what they are thinking because she's acting strange. Usually she's more strict. Here she's quite lenient. She's not like communicating to the children much. So stood there bleeding to death, pierced to the heart by such a letter. Because at this moment she was pierced to the heart, like she had been stabbed, and the knife had pierced her body and entered her heart. That is the news she received through that letter. As we were told yesterday, the letter was sent by her fiancé, and if you can recollect, the letter was for her, in which her fiancé was calling off that engagement. And naturally, when such an event, such a tragedy happens, especially to a girl, it's a tragic event. It's very, very hard to cope with. So I think I'll do that much for the day, and I'll end this much. We are on page number 92. Next time we will carry on from page 92. Goodbye. God bless.